The engines were at Tidmouth Sheds. Sir Topham had something very important to say. "I have good news and bad news," he said. "The good news is that Tidmouth Sheds is going to have a rebuild." All the engines were excited. "But wait," said Toby, "where are we all going to sleep while Tidmouth Sheds is being rebuilt?" "Well, that's the bad news," said Sir Topham Hatt. "You're going to have to figure that out on your own." That wasn't a problem for the tank engines. They're just going to stay in their branch line sheds. It was really only a problem for Gordon and James. They had to take turns sleeping in Henry's tunnel. The two engines were exhausted. Their trains were always late, and they were blamed. Sometimes the tank engines had to do their work for them, and they did not like that. Thomas and Percy thought that Gordon and James were just being lazy. Toby, however, understood why Gordon and James were always so tired, as the shed on the old railway was uncomfortable, and he was always tired. "We're tired of always doing your work," said Thomas and Percy. "You don't understand," said James. "Henry's tunnel is so uncomfortable." "I bet that we can sleep in Henry's tunnel and still be on time," said Thomas. "If you think you can do it, why don't you do it?" said Gordon. "Fine," said Percy, "we will." "And if you are late," said James, "you have to sleep in Henry's tunnel for a week after the Tidmouth Sheds is rebuilt." "Deal," said Thomas and Percy. The next morning, the engines came to the yard exhausted. Percy had fallen asleep before he even shunted the express, so Gordon had to do it. He didn't really mind, though. He was just happy that Percy lost the bet. Thomas, however, was still awake, and he had to take some logs to the sawmill. To get to the sawmill, you have to go over Gordon's Hill. By the time Thomas got there, he was already late. Thomas barely made it over Gordon's Hill, and he was too tired to go on. "Well, well, well," said James. "How did you sleep last night, Thomas?" Thomas couldn't answer. He was just about to fall asleep. "Don't worry," said James. "I'll push from behind." And so James pushed Thomas all the way to the sawmill. When the new sheds were finished, everyone loved it. But unfortunately, Thomas and Percy couldn't figure that out for a week.